Hi there. We are in our 13th lesson in our Spanish freelessonsonline.com. In this lesson, we will continue with what we were doing last video. We were practicing going to a shop and asking for some prices of products, right? It was a basic conversation between a buyer and a seller, right? A salesperson. Now we'll go a bit deeper with some more questions and answers for bargaining and for paying and getting the change in return. Okay, so let's start with, again, we get into the shop and we ask for the price of something. In this case, it's gonna be a book. So the buyer talks or asks the seller. The buyer asks the salesperson, buen día, ¿cuánto cuesta este libro? Buen día, ¿cuánto cuesta este libro? Cuesta 500 pesos. 500. So, buen día is good morning, or literally good day. How much costs this book? It costs 500 pesos, right? We said before that peso is the usual currency in Latin American countries. Okay, I would be using pesetas, but pesetas have been replaced by the euros in Spain, so let's use pesos. Buen día, ¿cuánto cuesta este libro? Cuesta 500 pesos. 500 pesos. Está muy caro. ¿Hay descuento por pago al contado? Let's go again, slowly. 500 pesos. Está muy caro. ¿Hay descuento por pago al contado? First, let me correct something. This exclamation mark should go at the beginning of the sentence here. This means 500 pesos. 500 pesos. That is very expensive. Is there discount for paying cash? Now that we know the meaning in English, let's read it one more time in Spanish. 500 pesos. Está muy caro. It is very expensive. ¿Hay descuento por pago al contado? Is there discount or rebate for paying or for payment cash? Al contado means cash. No está caro, señor. Está bien barato. No le puedo bajar más el precio. So in English this means, let's translate word by word, okay? No it is expensive. Not it is expensive. Sir or Mr. It is very cheap or well cheap. No, to you can lower more the price. So let's translate it into good English. It is not expensive, sir. It is very cheap. I cannot lower the price anymore for you, sir. For you. Okay? Now let's translate one more time, word by word. Not it is expensive, sir. It is well cheap or very cheap. Not to you can or for you can lower more the price. In Spanish, let's read this. No está caro, señor. Está bien barato. No le puedo bajar más el precio. Here we can say está bien barato, or we can say está muy barato, right? Both ways are correct in Spanish. We can say bien barato or muy barato to say very cheap. So look at this. Caro means expensive. Barato means cheap. Descuento means rebate or discount. Al contado means cash. Bajar el precio means to lower the price. Bajar más el precio means to lower the price more. So the buyer replies, qué lástima, what a pity, or what a shame, or how unfortunate. Qué lástima. Lástima literally means pity or shame. Y si compro 3 libros, ¿me haría un descuento? Let's go again. What a shame, or what a pity. And if I buy 3 books, would you give me a discount? Here the word give is not used in Spanish. We use to do or to make. So would you make me, or would you do to me a discount? That's how you would say it in Spanish. Me haría un descuento. This would be conditional conjugation of the verb hacer. Hacer is to do or to make. Let me show you the verb in infinitive. Hacer. This is the verb in infinitive, right? Verbo hacer means to make or to do, right? Here it is conjugated in the conditional tense for the second person of the singular in the formal way. So haría is conjugated for usted, right? The formal you. Let's read one more time. Qué lástima. Y si compro 3 libros, ¿me haría un descuento? Qué lástima. Y si compro 3 libros, ¿me haría un descuento? What a pity. And if I bought you 3 books, would you give me a discount, or would you do me a discount? Es posible. ¿Cuáles libros quiere llevar? It is possible. Which books do you want to take along, or do you want to carry along? Literally, word by word, let's translate like this. It is possible. Which books you want to take? Okay? Quiere, the subject you is implied in the conjugation, right? Quiere is you formal, right? Qualis is which, but in plural, because in Spanish you can use plural or singular. The singular, if you want to say which book, singular, would be cuál libro. Which books, cuáles libros. Let's read again in Spanish. Es posible. ¿Cuáles libros quiere llevar? Estos 3, or estos 3 libros. That would mean these 3, or these 3 books. That's what the buyer replies. These 3 books. Estos 3 libros. So the seller will say, los 3 juntos cuestan 1,400 pesos. Se los puedo dejar a 1,200. This in English means the 3 of them together cost 1,400 pesos. I can leave them for 1,200. Now let's translate word by word. The 3 together cost 1,400 pesos. To you, I can leave them. To you, can leave at 1,200. Okay? So the 3 of them together cost 1,400 pesos. I can leave them I can leave them to you for 1,200. Los 3 juntos cuestan 1,400 pesos. Se los puedo dejar a 1,200. So the buyer will reply, está bien, aquí tiene 1,500. Let me add the tilde in aquí. This means, está bien is that's fine, or it's fine, it's okay. here you are 1,500. That's fine. Here you have, or you are, 1,500. Está bien. It is okay or fine. Está bien. Aquí tiene 1,500. Aquí is here. Tiene is you have. From the verb tener. Tener. Tiene is present tense conjugation for the second person of the singular in the formal form. Usted tiene, right? You formal. Tiene. You can go back to the previous lesson where I showed you how to conjugate regular verbs that finish in ar. Actually, this is a regular verb. This is a verb that finishes in er, in er. We haven't seen that yet, but we will in the next lesson. So the salesman replied, y aquí tiene su vuelto y sus libros. Que tenga un buen día. In English this means, and here you have your change and your books. Have a good day. So, and here you have your change and your books. You have a good day. Y aquí tiene su vuelto y sus libros. Que tenga un buen día. The buyer replied, gracias, igualmente. Gracias, igualmente. That is, thank you, same to you, the same to you. Gracias, igualmente, the same to you. So, the beauty of Spanish, I say it again, is that you can read it as you write it and you write it as you read it. So if you know how to pronounce every letter or every combination of letters, you have no doubt whatsoever how to read or how to pronounce a word. And that makes it really very easy. Right, because there is no irregularities in the sounds and the phonetics, and I especially find that very, very convenient. So this is the end of our lesson, and I see you next time. Hi everybody, we are in our 14th lesson, our 14th Spanish lesson at www.SpanishFreeLessonsOnline.com. In this lesson, we'll learn the words in Spanish for this, these, that, those, this one, that one, and all that. Okay? So try to pay attention at the pronunciation and at the spelling, and especially in this case at the difference that this little mark makes in the meaning of the word. You see this little line on top of the vowel, in this case of the letter E, is called a tilde in Spanish. And the tilde always marks where the accent is, in which syllable the accent is. However, most words don't need a tilde, and some few do need a tilde. and there are rules for the tildes, so that we know when we use a tilde and when not. The rules are we'll see in the future, but now this is a first approach to tildes, and you can see clearly what the function of the tilde in these words, right? You can see when the word is the same word, but has a different function, you can actually differentiate which is a function of the word with the tilde. Same case as the word tú, right? Tú or él. Tú means you, él means he. You know that when you refer to the person tú or the person él, both words, both monosyllabic words have a tilde, right? I'll show you. Tú means you. Él means he. When they refer to the person, you or he, they always have a tilde. However, when tú is a pronoun like tu auto, right? This means your car. Here, the word tú does not have a tilde. Okay, so when tú means you, it has a tilde. When tú means your, it does not have a tilde. Okay, and with él or he, when él means he, it has a tilde. When él is an article, right? Definite masculine singular article, then it does not have a tilde. For example, auto, car, right? Auto is short form for automobile, right? Auto is masculine word, and since we are going to use a singular, right? We'll use a singular article. We'll say the car. In Spanish is el auto. El auto. Here, el does not mean he. Here it means the. In this case, el does not have a tilde as here. Okay? Well, this actually belongs to the fourth rule of the tildes, right? Here we'll see some more cases that belong to the fourth rule of tildes. So, let's see. Este libro. Look at the first phrase here. Este libro. Este means this. Este libro is this book. Now look. Which book? ¿Cuál? ¿Cuál means which one or which, right? ¿Cuál? Este, this one. You see, este has a tilde here. However, when we say este libro, it does not have a tilde. So, how can we translate to English the difference between este with a tilde and este without a tilde? Este without a tilde from este libro means this, right? This something, this book, this car, this something. That one does not have a tilde. When we want to say this one, in Spanish you say este. Okay? Este. You can see there is a tilde here, the line on top of the letter E. Okay? You see, so both are pronounced the same, only that este with a tilde means this one. Este without a tilde always needs to be followed by a noun or by an adjective that refers to a noun. Okay? You can say este libro or este gran libro, this big book, okay, but needs to be followed by something else if you use este without a tilde. Like this book, right? You say you need to follow it with either a noun or an adjective. This book, this one, este. Okay? Now, in English, while in English the word this refers to both masculine and feminine, right? Because actually, same as the English article, the is universal, right? For Spanish, however, you need to either use este or esta, depending on whether you're referring to a masculine or a feminine. Okay? To a masculine or a feminine object or word or noun or whatever. So, libro, book, is masculine. El libro, typically ending in an O, as masculine as most masculine words. Lámpara means lamp, a lamp. Lámpara, ending in A, is a typical feminine noun. So, esta lámpara, this lamp. ¿Cuál? Which one? This one. Sorry, esta. Here should be singular. Right? Because we are talking about lámpara in singular, just one lamp. Okay? If it were plural, it would have an S at the end, which is not the case. So, esta lámpara, this lamp. ¿Cuál? Which one? Esta, this one. Again, pay attention how esta, this one, has a tilde here, the line. When you say this lamp, this something, esta lámpara, it doesn't have a tilde. Okay? Now in plural, masculine plural, we say estos. Estos means these, masculine. Estos libros, these books. ¿Cuáles? Right? ¿Cuál would be singular. Plural would be cuáles. Right? For which. Which books? ¿Cuáles? Estos, these, okay? Estos with a tilde. Now I say estas lámparas, you see, feminine plural. Now the noun is feminine plural, lámparas. We say estas lámparas, these lamps. ¿Cuáles? Which lamps? Estas, with a tilde. Estas, these. Okay? Now we'll say those or that one. Instead of this one or these, we'll say those, that one. For those or for that, there are two words in Spanish that mean the same thing. They are synonyms. It is ese or aquel, or esa or aquella, right? I wrote a slash in between for you to see that either of these two is okay and they mean exactly the same in any Spanish-speaking country in the world, okay? It's just a matter of preference. Whether you want to use this one or this one. So, ese libro. So libro is book, is masculine noun in a singular. So we say that book is ese libro or aquel libro. Aquel libro. Which one? ¿Cuál? ¿Cuál? Which one? Ese or aquel means that one. You see, when you say that one, same case as here on top. Ese has a tilde. Aquel has a tilde here. Okay? Now we'll use a feminine singular noun. Lámpara. The same one we were using before for lamp. Esa lámpara or aquella lámpara. Aquella lámpara means that lamp. ¿Cuál? Or ¿cuál lámpara? Which lamp? Esa or aquella, that one. Here has the tilde, okay? That one. Now we'll use masculine noun in the plural. Libros with an S for plural. Libros is books. Esos libros or aquellos libros means those books. Now I ask, which books? ¿Cuáles? Plural. ¿Cuáles or cuáles libros? Esos with a tilde or aquellos, aquellos. Now our noun is a feminine noun in the plural. I will say esas lámparas, or I will say aquellas lámparas, those lamps. You see? No tilde here, no tilde here. Those lamps, aquellas lámparas. ¿Cuáles lámparas? Which lamps? ¿Cuáles? Esas. Aquellas. Sorry. Still here. Aquellas. Yes, or esas. Those. I'm specifying it's those. So here, aquellas has a tilde, or esas has a tilde, right? And following the same route of esta, estes, estos, aquellas, esas, we have three more words that refer to a noun or to an object, but they don't go accompanied by the object. They just go alone, and they don't have a tilde. Is when you, for example, I want to say esto, this, simply this, nothing else. I don't want to refer to this one nor this eraser. I'm just saying this. In Spanish, the word is esto, okay? E-S-T-O. Esto means literally this. If you want to say that, right? Neither that chair nor that one, no, simply that. That. In Spanish, the word will either be eso or aquello. They are synonyms, so you can use either or both. Either of these. Eso, aquello means that. Okay? So, study these words, learn them well and try to see the difference, understand the difference between each of these, because these are very useful words that we usually need in everyday conversation. And remember the difference when they carry the tilde and when they don't. Try to practice with different nouns or different objects. Este libro, esta lámpara, aquella puerta. Puerta means door. And or esto, aquello, eso. And so, well, just try to make this second nature in you, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Hi there. So, welcome back to our next lesson in Spanish Free Lessons Online.com. In this video, we will learn how to say the 12th month of the year in Spanish. We will also learn the names for the 4 seasons in Spanish, together with their particular characteristics, and some few sentences, right, where we can also apply and use the new words we have learned. Okay? So let's begin. Los meses del año. Los meses del año. This means the month of the year. Meses is the plural for mes, or month. We have 1 month, mes, okay? And in Spanish, to make the plural of a word, you add an s. However, since this word already has an s in the infinitive, then you add es, right? Let's spell this word in Spanish. M-E-S-E-S. Meses, month. And año means year. Los meses del año. Look at this. D-E-L, del. This means of the. This is formed by the word de, el. De literally means of. El means the. And it's a masculine singular for the. Okay? When you want to say of the in a masculine singular word like año, instead of saying de el in Spanish, you reduce the word and you leave del. Okay? You say del. This is how you have to say of the in Spanish, del. That's only for masculine. Okay, this is month 1, month 2, month 3, all up to month 12, December. You'll notice that the names are very similar as in English and as in many other languages as well. So let's begin. Enero. Check out that in Spanish you read as you write and you write as you read. So if you know how to pronounce each one of the letters in Spanish, you should be able to pronounce the whole word, right? Your only difficulty may be to repeat or reproduce the Spanish sounds like the R, like the open vowels, okay? But for that you need to practice and repeat with me. So, enero, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, junio, julio, agosto, septiembre, octubre, noviembre, diciembre. So let's repeat that. Number 1 is January, it's enero, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, junio, julio, agosto, septiembre, octubre, noviembre, diciembre. Those are the 12 months of the year. Now let's see the 4 seasons. Las 4 estaciones. Okay? Las 4 estaciones. These are the 4 seasons. Now look at this. Estaciones is the plural for estación or season. You see, the singular would be estación. Usually, for the rule in Spanish is to add an s to form the plural. However, in Spanish you cannot have at the end of a word n and s together, so this would be incorrect for the plural, right? That's why you add an e to form the plural, like here, estaciones. So this same rule you can apply to any other word that ends in n. Las 4 estaciones. Let's start with winter, okay? As in the northern hemisphere. Although right now I'm in Brazil, that's southern hemisphere. But let's start with winter. Invierno. Invierno. Primavera, spring. Verano, summer. Otoño, autumn or fall. Fall or autumn. So let's go again. Invierno. Later we have primavera. Later we have verano. Later we have otoño. So let's go a bit faster. We have invierno, primavera, verano, otoño. Okay? Let's try some few simple sentences with these words. We want to say, now we are in December. Ahora estamos en diciembre. Ahora is now. Estamos means we are, right? It's the conjugation for we of the verb to be, estar. Estar. So, since the conjugation estamos, the ending mos already implies that it belongs to the to the person we or nosotros. That's why we don't need a subject here, because the subject is already implied in the verb. That's as in Spanish. Most Spanish sentences are like that. En is in diciembre. Ahora estamos en diciembre. Now let's say we are in spring. Ahora estamos en primavera. Now let's say today is Tuesday. So now let's say that today is Tuesday, 3rd of December. Hoy es martes 3 de diciembre. Hoy means today. Es is the verb to be, or verb ser. We saw that in a previous lesson. Here the conjugation of verb ser is for the third person of the singular, for he or she or it, right? That's why again this the subject is implied here. So es already implies that the subject is it. Okay? Martes is Tuesday, 3 is 3 of December. Hoy es martes 3 de diciembre. Now let's say that today is today is a cloudy day. Today it's cloudy. So let's say hoy es un día nublado. Un día means a day. Día means day. Nublado means cloudy. It comes from nube. Nube means cloud. Nublado means cloudy. So we say, hoy es un día nublado. Or faster, hoy es un día nublado. Llueve. This means it rains. Or you can say it is raining. Está lloviendo. This sentence and this sentence are exactly the same. You can either say llueve or you can say está lloviendo to say that it is raining. Llueve. Está lloviendo. Right? This está lloviendo has exactly the same structure as the English sentence it is raining. It is raining. Está lloviendo. Here it means literally it rains. It rains, right? So llueve is the conjugation in present tense of llover, the verb to rain, for the subject, for the person it. Okay? Llueve. The verb is llover. Now let's say that it is sunny today. Hoy es un día soleado. Now, at normal speed, you say, hoy es un día soleado. Hoy, today, is a day sunny. That's the word-by-word translation. Sun in Spanish is sol. Sol. And soleado means sunny. Okay? Now let's see some characteristics of each of the 4 seasons, okay? Características de las 4 estaciones del año. Characteristics of the 4 seasons of the year. Para invierno, or for winter, it is cold, right? So we'll write down, for winter, we'll write down frío. Frío, or cold. We can say rainy, depends on which region, right? Because in some regions in winter it's very dry, okay? But in some others winter can be very rainy. So let's say lluvioso, lluvioso, or rainy. Lluvioso, L-L-U-V-I-O-S-O, or L-U-V-I-O-S-O. We can say also nublado, like here. Nublado is cloudy. We can say triste, sad, because winter can be sad. So, invierno es triste. Triste. Triste or sad. La primavera. ¿Cómo es? Spring. How is it? How is spring? Spring is, you can say spring is, let's use another color. Let's use green for spring. Spring is alegre. Alegre means joyful. Alegre can also be happy, but I will use joyful because for happy the word would be more feliz, but you cannot use feliz for, feliz is more for happiness, you know. So let's use alegre, and we translate it like joyful. Alegre. Primavera, la primavera es alegre. La primavera es romántica, romantic or glamorous. Romántica. Okay? Oh, sorry, I missed a letter T. Romántica. Verano. ¿Cómo es el verano? How is the summer? El verano es caluroso or hot. Let's use red for summer. Verano es caluroso. To say that the weather is hot, you say caluroso. However, the word caluroso only applies to the weather. Okay, you cannot use the adjective caluroso for any other thing. Like, for example, you can say that the tea is hot. However, you cannot say that your tea is caluroso. Okay, only applies for the weather. Caluroso. You can say that summer is. What else can we say about summer? Summer is sunny, of course. Soleado. Soleado. You can also say that that summer is humid or dry, depending on the region, right? Depending on the country. So we can say, el verano es húmedo, húmedo. If you want to say that the summer is humid. Or you can say the summer is dry, seco. Seco. El verano es seco. Or very dry, muy seco. El verano es muy húmedo. Okay? Now for otoño or fall. We can say that the fall is what can we say? Colorful. Colorido. Colorido. You can see that I'm using the adjective in its masculine form, colorido, because otoño is a masculine word. You see it ends in O. El otoño es colorido. Colorido, colorful. We can say el otoño es seco. Okay? Or el otoño es ventoso. Ventoso means windy. Ventoso comes from the noun viento. Viento means wind. Viento. If you want to say it is windy, you say ventoso. Está ventoso. It is windy. Está means it is. Está ventoso is it is windy. If you want to say el otoño es ventoso, you're saying the autumn is windy. Okay? So, this is enough for today's lesson, and we'll see how to use articles in our next lesson, right? Determined and indeterminate articles for masculine, feminine, and for plurals. Okay? So that's what we'll see next time. So I hope to see you soon. Hi there, and welcome to the 15th lesson of our Spanish course at www.spanishfreelessonsonline.com. So in this 15th lesson, we will learn the articles in Spanish, right? The articles that precede nouns. We have the determined and indeterminate articles. I think that's how we call them in English, right? I think so. Anyway, you'll see what I mean. This is what I call the determined article and indeterminate article, because this is you always know you're specifying the noun or the object you're referring to. Here it's very inspecific. You're just saying a person, right? So this would be specific article or inspecific article. Let's see. I used different examples of words for it, so we could also learn a few more words. Niño means boy. Niña means girl. Niños, boys. Niñas, girls. Señor is gentleman, or sir, or mister, okay? Because actually for gentleman there is also a word caballero, and for lady, dama. But señor is a word that is used as caballero or gentleman, and also as sir, and as Mr., because you say Mr. Smith, Señor Smith, right? Señor González, Mr. González, Señora González, Mrs. González. Okay, so Señor is gentleman, Señora, lady, Señores, gentlemen, Señoras, ladies. Hombre is a man. Mujer, woman. Hombres, men. Mujeres, women. You can see that for the plural of mujer, we added not only an S but an E and an F, because words that finish with a consonant, you have to add a vowel before the S that converts the word into a plural, okay? So let's begin. El niño, the boy. La niña, the girl. Los niños, the boys. Las niñas, the girls. You see how easy it is in English. You have one same article for all these four cases. Masculine singular, feminine singular, masculine plural, feminine plural. However, in Spanish you need to specify the person in each of these articles. You say el niño is masculine for the in a singular, feminine singular, la. Los is masculine plural, las feminine plural. Now for the inspecific or indeterminate article, we have un señor, a gentleman, right? We are not specifying the gentleman. We're saying a gentleman. Un señor. Una señora. Unos señores means some gentlemen, okay? Unas señoras or some ladies. So, un señor is a gentleman. Una señora, a lady. Una is feminine. Unos señores, some gentlemen. Means plural, right, for masculine. Unas señoras, or some ladies, you see the article una implies feminine and plural. Now, these are the basic articles, but let's see a special form for saying some or any. And the rule is the same. Algún hombre, some man or any man. For example, if you want to say, is there any person who wants to come here? You would say, ¿hay alguna persona que quiera venir? Use alguna. Okay? So, algún corresponds to some or to any. Algún hombre, alguna mujer, algunos hombres, algunas mujeres. Okay? And although these are not articles, these adjectives, we can also follow the same rule as here to apply them to a sentence, right? Muchos means many. Many. Pocos means few. Casi todos plus article, this means almost, almost all. When you use this, you need an article. Let me show you how this would work. If you want to say many boys, you would say muchos niños, right? Muchos with O, masculine plural. Muchos niños, many boys. Muchas niñas, many girls. You use muchas with A because it's feminine. So muchos niños, muchas niñas, or muchos señores, muchas mujeres, muchas señoras. Pocos works the same. Pocos means few. Let's say few men or few women. Few men or few women. We would say pocos hombres or pocas mujeres, right? Pocos or pocas, depending if we are using masculine or feminine. And if we want to say all the men or all the women, you need to say all the plus article, okay? You need an article here. Let's say all the men. Todos los hombres or los niños o niñas, boys or girls. Todos los niños or todas las niñas. That's all the boys, all the girls. Todos los niños, todas las niñas. Or you can say almost all the boys, almost all the girls, right? in Spanish that would be casi todos. Casi means almost. C-A-S-I. You would say casi todos los niños for almost all the boys. Casi todas las niñas, almost all the girls. Okay? So try to study and review how the articles work and are used in Spanish, and try to use some other examples, and try to remember how to make sentences using these two kinds of articles mainly, right? Specific and inspecific, and well, or determined or indeterminate. Depends how you, I don't know which is the word in English for that. And so, well, this is the end of the lesson, and I see you next time in our 16th lesson of Spanish. Okay, goodbye. Hi guys, welcome back to our lesson of Spanish. This time we will learn how to conjugate some more regular verbs. We are at www.spanishfreelessonsonline.com, and in this lesson I want to teach you the rule how to conjugate the regular verbs of the group of verbs that finish in ER or finish in R. E-R. ER is E-R. So, as we mentioned in a previous class, there are three groups of verbs, of regular verbs. Those that end in R, those that end in R, and those that end in IR. Okay? We mentioned them very superficially before, and we also saw how to conjugate in the present tense the regular verbs that finish in AR or AR. Now we will see the ones that finish in R. So here we have some few examples. Let me get a pen. Here we have a pen. So we have three examples here, right? Typical, simple examples. Leer, comer, beber. Leer means read. Comer means to eat. And beber means to drink. You can see that all these three verbs, and the list continues, end with R, right? These verbs belong to the group of verbs ending in R. Here it says verbos que terminan en R. That means, let's translate word by word. Verbs that end in R. So let's begin with the verb leer, or to read. Look, here we conjugate verb leer. Here we'll conjugate verb comer, to eat. And here we will conjugate the verb beber, or to drink. You can see that on the left hand side we have the pronouns in singular, and to the right hand side we have the pronouns in plural, like we, you plural, they, ellos. These two are you plural, okay? And so let's begin with verb leer. I want you to pay attention at this. The verb has a root. Oh, my cell phone is beeping all the time. The verb has a root, here the beginning of the word, and the termination er, okay? Here the root is com, okay? Let me underline the root of the verb in green. Le is the root. Com is the root. Beb is the root. So the root of the verb is what is not the ending of the verb, right? What classifies it into the three groups, okay? So the ending is er, and all the rest is the root of the verb, okay? So for the verb leer, or to read, we'll conjugate it like this. Yo leo. Pay attention that the root is always the same, and what changes is the ending for the conjugation. Let's mark the ending with red, okay? Okay? Now, let's start with I. I read. Yo leo. Tú lees. Él lee. Or ella lee. Él, he, ella, she. Now look, you can see there, these are double E's. Double E's, you pronounce them. It's not a long E. It's, you make like a stop. Lee, okay? Él lee. Yes? As if you try to pronounce two E's together. Lee. Or nosotros leemos. You see, you pronounce both E's. Nosotros leemos. That means we read. Vosotros leéis. Leéis. For you read, you plural. Ustedes leen. That's also you read, plural. As we said before, vosotros is what is used in Spain. Ustedes is what is used in Latin America. And both forms are correct and acceptable academically. But the conjugation changes for vosotros and for ustedes. So although it means the same thing, you have to pay attention at the ending, how you conjugate. Right? Vosotros leéis, for you read, or ustedes leen, for you read. Leen, sorry, ustedes has the same conjugation as ellos, they. Ellos leen. You see, these two are the same. So let's go again. Yo leo. Tú lees. Él lee, or ella lee. Nosotros leemos. Vosotros leéis. Ustedes leen. Ellos leen. Now let's conjugate the verb comer, to eat. You see that the rule is the same. You keep the root of the verb and you add the same ending, right? that you need to add for all the regular verbs ending in er. So, yo como, tú comes, él come, or ella come, nosotros comemos, vosotros coméis, ustedes comen, ellos comen. Okay? And vosotros and ustedes means the same thing. They plural. Sorry. You plural. Okay? Ellos means they. So let me read it again, but this time in a normal speed. Yo como, tú comes, él come, or ella come, nosotros comemos, vosotros coméis. So, nosotros comemos, vosotros coméis, ustedes comen, ellos comen. Now, let's do our last example, another verb ending in er, the verb beber, or to drink. Beber means to drink. Okay, you can see the same rule still applies. You have the root of the verb remains untouched, right? The root is beb. And the ending is the same ending as for all the other verbs. Yo bebo, tú bebes, él bebe, or ella bebe. Nosotros bebemos, vosotros bebéis, ustedes beben, ellos beben. So, now in normal speed. Yo bebo, tú bebes, él bebe, or ella bebe. Nosotros bebemos, vosotros bebéis, ustedes beben, ellos beben. Let me do this. Vosotros and ustedes mean the same thing, so I'll put this sign of equal between them, okay? So, you can see this is the rule that applies to conjugate in the present tense all the regular verbs that end in er, okay? Leer, comer, beber, and you have many more. So, let me see, are we missing anything here? There are many more examples, and there are some exceptions as well that we will see later on. The exceptions are some irregular verbs or some others that are semi-regular, because the same rule applies, but they just add one letter in between for some cases, okay? Like entender would be yo entiendo, you just add an I, okay? But it would be very useful if you memorize this rule and you practice with other verbs that you can find. And this will be very useful to be able to make your own sentences and to communicate. So this is the end of our lesson, and I'll see you next time. Hi, welcome back to www.SpanishFreeLessonsOnline.com. Last lesson we learned how to conjugate regular verbs in Spanish of the group that finishes with er, with er. Now I will show you one case, one example of a verb that finishes with er but is irregular, or slightly irregular, but still, that's still irregular, okay? The verb we'll see now is the verb querer. Querer means to want. Let's write it down here. To want. Try to pronounce the words querer, querer. You see that the R is the soft sound of the R, because it's not at the beginning of the word, and because it is not doubled, it is not double R. So it is not querer, it is querer, querer. Verbo querer, that's verb querer. So let's begin. We have I, yo, you, singular, tú, he, él, she, ella, nosotros is we, vosotros, you, plural, ustedes is also you, plural, ellos is they, vosotros is what they use in Spain, ustedes is what they use in Latin America. So let's start conjugating. Yo quiero, tú quieres, él quiere, or ella quiere, nosotros queremos, vosotros queréis, that's you plural, want, ustedes quieren, same thing, you plural, ellos quieren. As usual, as always, better said, ustedes and ellos, although they mean different persons, they conjugate the same, quieren, you see? Let's read it again. Yo quiero, tú quieres, él quiere, or ella quiere, nosotros queremos, vosotros queréis, ustedes quieren, ellos quieren. Okay? See, notice that the root, look, this would be the ending, the termination, okay? The ending would be er. It's a verb that ends in er. The root would be quer. However, in this verb that is irregular, you not only you add the termination, right? But you also need to add this letter I here in between. You see, that's why this is an irregular verb, because it's not exactly the same as all the regular verbs that end in er. Many other verbs, they are the same in the conjugation, but they add a letter I, like the verb entender, to understand. So let's try to see some examples of how we use the verb querer, the verb to want. Here, imagine we are going into a coffee shop and we tell the waiter or the salesman. First we say hola, or buen día, good morning. Quiero un café. ¿Cuánto cuesta? Actually, we should add the word por favor. That means please, Let's add por favor. Let's write here, por favor. Por favor. This we spell it. P-O-R-F-A-V-O-R. Por favor. That's please. So this would go here, okay? So we would say, quiero un café, por favor. ¿Cuánto cuesta? As usual, we can omit the yo, the subject I, because since the verb, the conjugation of the verb already implies and shows that this is for the first person of the singular, quiero, you see, we can see it's yo. Then we don't need to say yo. And usually we don't say yo. We can say yo quiero un café, but usually or almost always we just say quiero un café, por favor. ¿Cuánto cuesta? This is how much does it cost? Literally, word by word, this is I want a coffee. How much costs? You can see that in Spanish it is okay to say quiero un café, right? In English you usually say I want a cup of coffee. In Spanish you can say quiero una taza de café, a cup of coffee. But usually we just say quiero un café, and that's okay, it's correct. The reply of the waiter would be cuesta 30 pesos. It costs 30 pesos. Again, here we are omitting the subject that is already implied in the verb cuesta. You see, cuesta is conjugation for it, or for he or she or it, okay? So this means the coffee. In English you will need to say it costs, or the coffee costs. In Spanish you can omit it. Cuesta 30 pesos. So, I'm the customer, I say, y también quiero una porción de torta de chocolate. Word by word, let's translate. And also, I want a portion of cake of chocolate. Let's read it again. Y también quiero una porción de torta de chocolate. So the waiter will answer. Aquí tiene. Here you are. En total son 70 pesos. Here you are. In total it is 70 pesos. Pesos is the usual currency in Latin American countries. So take a look at this. You can say in total, in total, or you can omit it. You really don't need to say en total, and usually we don't. So we would just say aquí tiene. Son 70 pesos. and I will say muchas gracias. Aquí tiene 100. That means very, very, or very much thanks. Here you have 100. That would be thank you very much. Here you are, $100. Muchas gracias, or simply gracias. Aquí tiene 100. So we are giving a banknote of 100 pesos to the waiter, and the waiter will say, y aquí tiene 30 de vuelto. Word by word translation, and here you have 30 of change. So your change is 30. Here you are. Let's read it again. Y aquí tiene 30 de vuelto. So let's read this one more time, but in normal speed. Okay? So I go into the coffee shop. I say, quiero un café, por favor. ¿Cuánto cuesta? Cuesta 30 pesos. Y también quiero una porción de torta de chocolate. Aquí tiene. En total son 70 pesos. Muchas gracias. Aquí tiene 100. Y aquí tiene 30 de vuelto. That would be in normal speed. Okay? So you better practice reading and pronouncing all these words, these sentences, so your tongue can naturally and without great effort pronounce these consonants and these sounds. Okay? So this is the end of today's lesson. I hope it was useful, and remember, if you want to receive an email every time I post a new lesson on the website, you can subscribe by adding your email to the field that is to the right of the page where it says subscribe. So goodbye. Welcome back to www.SpanishFreeLessonsOnline.com. This is our 19th lesson, and in this video we will learn how to say the time in Spanish. So we will divide this lesson in 2 or 3 parts, right? And here in this one we will just learn how to say the time in o'clock time, okay? No fractions, no half past, no quarter to, no quarter past. That will leave for next lesson. So when we ask, what's the time? The most common way in Spanish is to say, ¿qué hora es? Here. ¿Qué hora es? This word by word literally means what time it is. Es is a verb to be conjugated for the third person of the singular, for it, he, she, or it. So this word already includes 2 words in one. It means it is. Okay? So, ¿qué hora es? Now, if we want to say it is 9 in the morning, we will say son las 9 de la mañana. This literally means it is, or better, they are the 9 of the morning. You see, in Spanish, here when you say the time, if it is more than one, you don't say it is, you say they are. So here, instead of using the word es for it is, you use the word son for they are. Son las 9 de la mañana. And this is also curious, because you see that even the number 9 has an article here, right? Las. Las is a feminine plural article, right? 9. Why do we use a feminine? Actually, the number is not feminine, but it refers to hora. Hora is feminine. Actually, this would mean son las 9 horas de la mañana. But we never say the full sentence. We just say son las 9 or son las 8 for 8 o'clock, okay? So, as we said, they are the 9 of the morning. Son las 9 de la mañana. Son las 12 del mediodía. 12 is 12. It is 12 at noon. This would be, they are the plural 12 of the noon, right? Mediodía, you can see, is one word formed by two words, right? This part means half, and this part means day, half day. This is the word, the Spanish word for noon, mediodía, the half of the day, the middle of the day. Medio is half or middle. Okay? So, ¿qué hora es? Son las 12 del mediodía. Now, if I want to say it is 1 o'clock, ¿qué hora es? Es la 1 de la tarde. You see? Now we are not using son. We are not using they are. We are using es. We are using the singular of to be. Because it is 1 o'clock. 1. So we don't say they are. We say it is, because it's singular. It's just 1 o'clock. So, es la 1 de la tarde. Tarde means afternoon. Tarde has two meanings in Spanish. It means late, or it means afternoon. We can use tarde when we say, I'm getting late. Estoy llegando tarde. Right? Or we can say, es tarde. It is late. However, if we say, es de tarde, we are saying it is afternoon. So here, we are saying it is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Es la 1 de la tarde. Here we say it is 5 in the afternoon. Son las 5 de la tarde. You see, now since 5 is plural, unlike 1, we are using son las instead of es la. Okay? Son las 5 de la tarde. Now, for 8 o'clock in the evening, we will say son las 8 de la noche. Son las 8 de la noche. That's how we would say it in normal speed. Son las 8 de la noche. Son las 8 de la noche. Here, we simply say, to say it's midnight, we can simply say es medianoche. Again, as in mediodía, to say it's the middle of the day, for midnight is the same as in English, right? Means media, middle, noche, for night. Middle night or half night, okay? Es medianoche. It is midnight. You can also say son las 12 de la noche. It is 12 at night. Son las 12 de la noche. 12 at night. Or simply, same as in English, you can just say son las 12 and that's all. You don't need to say it's 5 in the afternoon. You can say simply it is 5 in Spanish too. You can say son las 9 or son las 12. ¿Qué hora es? What's the time? ¿Qué hora es? Son las 5. Es la 1. ¿Qué hora es? Son las 4. Okay? But if we want to say, to specify, it's 4 in the afternoon, it's 10 in the evening, that in Spanish that's more common and more frequent than it is in English, okay? So we can say here, if we want to say it's 4 in the morning, we can say son las 4 de la madrugada. Okay? Or you can also say son las 4 de la mañana. So here, our last sentence, we can say son las 4 de la madrugada. Or we can also say son las 4 de la mañana. Both sentences mean the same thing. It is 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay, let's translate this word by word. They are the 4 of the morning, or here madrugada means the middle of the night or the wee hours, okay? I don't know if there is a literal word for madrugada in English, but it means that it's the what you call the wee hours in English, right? So usually it's from midnight until the sunrise, okay? That's in Spanish what we call la madrugada. Sorry. So, son las 4 de la madrugada, of the wee hours. Or you can also say of 4 in the morning, 4 de la mañana. However, madrugada is a very frequently used word when you refer to these hours in the morning before the sunrise, okay, the wee hours. So here I drew this, I don't know if to call it drawing but for you to see in Spanish how we can divide the hours of the day in morning, evening, the wee hours, okay? It's very similar to English, but probably the afternoon extends itself a bit longer, because Spanish-speaking countries usually have they have their late dinners, and so the afternoon can extend itself a bit longer. I think so. I'm not really sure. So, for example, here, let's imagine this is 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. This is 12 at noon, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., right? 20 p.m. or 8, sorry, 20 hours or 8 p.m. and this 24 is midnight, okay? So, in Spanish, we would say from 1 in the morning to 4 in the morning, we call it madrugada, okay? Madrugada. Madrugada would be, as we said, the wee hours, right? Or the moment between, the time between midnight and the sunrise, okay? Madrugada. At the same time, all this from 1 in the morning until 11, or better said, until 12, right? Until noon. All this until 12 is the morning, right? Mañana, here it is. Mañana. Look at the spelling. M-A-Ñ-A-N-A. Ñ is this N with a wave on top, yes? Then 12 at noon is mediodía, midday or noon. Mediodía. The spelling is M-E-D-I-O-D-I-A. Now, from 1 p.m. until 7 p.m. or including 7 p.m. So it's from 1 p.m. until 8 p.m., right? Excluding 8 p.m. We have the afternoon. In Spanish it is tarde. The spelling is T-A-R-D-E. Tarde. And from 20 hours or 8 p.m. until midnight, we call it noche. Noche. N-O-C-E. Right? Che is the letter formed by CH. That in Spanish, it's a letter by itself. Or you can just split it in CH. You can say N-O-C-H-E. Noche. The word noche stands for evening and for night. Okay? We use noche for both evening and night. We can say buenas noches for good evening, or we say buenas noches also for good night. So our last one here, 24, this is midnight. Okay, medianoche. Okay, we had seen this before. Medianoche for midnight. The spelling is M-E-D-I-A-N-O-C-H-E. Medianoche. Okay, this is all for today's lesson. Next lesson we will see how to tell the time in fractions with a quarter past, half past, okay? So it's going to be more real, so you can be prepared for telling the time in Spanish for whatever time it is, okay? So I see you later. Bye.